Howdy, Caffeinated Movies, coming at you with our 7th podcast. This week, we're recommended hidden horror gems, horror movies that we all feel are worth watching, kind of lesser known horror movies on popular streaming platforms. This week, for coffee, we're featuring the Hawaiian Kona blend
from
World Market. It's grown on the volcanic slopes in the Kona district of Hawaii. So you got good volcanic soil that we're drinking. I'm sure that...
Very good for you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great.
It's got to be healthy.
A lot of antioxidants and whatnot in that. So this is the coffee this week.
I'm enjoying it.
It's very good. I would highly recommend it. All right, so our next pick this week is going to be Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, which was
my pick.
Your pick this week.
Great movie.
So why don't you tell us
what
it's about?
All right. So Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. It's shot as a kind of a mockumentary in a world where all the killers from your popular slasher films like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween are all real people and real killers. So basically, this journalist starts following Leslie Vernon around because he claims he is trying to be one of the next Jason or Freddy and stuff like that. And he claims that he was, been murdered. He claims that he is part of this urban legend that he murdered his family and this townsfolk threw him off of a waterfall to kill him, and he didn't actually die. Right. So that's what his backstory is. He's
completely fabricated. But
none
because
of it's true.
All the other killers that he wants to be like have a backstory.
They all have a tragic backstory. Yeah, that's what he goes for. And they just kind of follow him around and on his journey to as he's picking his victims, and kind of follow a lot of the cliches of all those horror movies. And he just they break down the stereotypes of everything. Yeah, they're not real journalists.
They're grad students.
They're
or something.
College students, filming something. Yeah, but they're not journalists for a newspaper or
no. They're trying to get a dissertation or something.
Yeah, it's like a school project type of thing. Yeah.
But I like the world that it's set in, how they did that.
Yeah,
at first I thought it was just all complete comedy horror, but it got much better.
It's very neat how they kind of incorporated that universe into reality.
They basically are treating the Hollywood serial killer movie like Jason, Freddy. They're treating that as a job that you can train for, and then you become certified in that job.
I do a lot of cardio, man.
Yeah.
I do a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to just walk really fast? You gotta make it look like you're going slow, but you're really moving.
They've
got some really funny parts in there.
It's hilarious.
He's really funny.
They explain all the different tropes of slasher movies, like the killer walking, somehow catching up to...
I like all the terms he used.
Yeah. They're all... It's all great.
She didn't know any of the terms, so he has to describe each one. Yeah. What's an Ahab?
Yeah.
I didn't know what an Ahab was either.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
I didn't know that they had any of these terms.
An Ahab is apparently like a Dr. Loomis type character from Halloween, where you have a therapist or somebody that's had contact with the killer previously.
All good.
That wants to,
They're just out to be good.
And to fight the evil of...
Right. The White Knight kind of.
Yes.
And the writer of this, Scott Glosserman, he's more of a producer from what I could.
Yeah, he looked like he did more. Yeah, they do have a sequel in the works. I don't know
which is awesome,
or if it's ever going to come out.
I hope so.
I hope it does.
But watching this, and then when I was researching, I saw that there was going to be a sequel coming out, and I was like,
"There's so many horror references in this movie, though."
And it's all done extremely well. Everything that's a horror trope.
If you're a diehard horror fan, you're gonna catch a lot of these things.
Yes.
If you're not, they're just gonna be things in the background you don't even notice.
Which is a great point to, as far as recommending goes, is I wouldn't recommend this to people who don't thoroughly enjoy horror movies.
Yeah. And you're gonna enjoy it a lot more if you're big into horror movies.
I think even if you're not big into horror movies, you may still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll get a
there's
ton of the references.
There's a lot of subtle things in the background that you're just not going to understand. I mean, there was some that I didn't even understand. I didn't pick up on it.
Right.
Like, I mean, he has turtles that are named after like the animals from Pet Cemetery.
I would have never
And
noticed.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know the animals from Pet Cemetery had names.
But I was very impressed because the director-writer Scott Glosserman hasn't written or directed many things.
No.
And the amount of
detail
and stuff that he put into this movie.
You can tell he is a horror buff.
He's a horror buff, and he had to research and do a lot of structured writing to fit all of these pieces in, and it was great.
Like, to perfectly mix horror and comedy and a documentary.
It was
he did great at that.
Really well done.
Yeah. Lots of good people in it. I mean, they had a lot of people that made, if you're a big fan of horror movies, you're going to know. I mean, Robert Englund being the most notable, Freddy. But, they also had the guy, Kane Hodder, who played Jason in 4, 5, and 6, maybe? I don't know. It was it wasn't the first
7,
few, but
8.
Yeah, something
like that.
He was in a good bit
10.
of them. Yeah. It was a good bit of them. But yeah, they had a lot of people from horror movies in this movie. And what's her name? The librarian lady from Zelda.
Yes.
Rubinstein.
From Ghostbusters.
Yeah. And Poltergeist.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Ghostbusters. It was Poltergeist. Yeah. I found that they have Robert Englund in it. He plays the Dr. Loomis type character.
He plays the Ahab, and they get so excited when he shows up.
Yeah, he's just loving it.
Oh yeah,
because it's all coming together. Like he's trying to create his own movie essentially.
It shows a side that you wouldn't expect from the killers and the slashers.
No,
they're excited. It shows that they do what they do because they're killers, but at the same time they're excited when someone tries to stop them. It means they
want that.
They hit it big when someone tries to stop them.
Yeah, that's how you know you've made it. You have a nemesis,
an Ahab. Which I don't know where they got that term from. Do you know?
Moby Dick.
Okay, that's right.
Quite well.
That's right. Yeah. Then they have a mentor character played by Scott Wilson.
Yes.
From The Walking Dead.
He plays the veteran killer or whatever, I guess, he's retired from murdering people.
Which I thought was a really cool part too. He's done it. He's like retired from serial killing.
And he's known from Walking Dead, if you watch Walking Dead. He's been in a lot of movies too. It's just like I think Walking Dead is probably his most notable thing.
I just like how they portray him because he's the mentor and he has a wife and has a normal family.
Yeah.
And they're all talking about this as if it's just a job.
Yeah. Like it's just regular conversation.
Right.
They're just so lighthearted about it.
He's got a sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
What did you think about when you saw that? Because I know you didn't notice that the first time.
Oh, no.
Because you didn't know about the podcast.
Sounds fun, though.
Not
being buried on the ground, though.
When he did that, I was like, God, man. Sensory deprivation,
man.
Yeah,
I'm all in for it, but I don't like his method of it, though.
Oh, going underground?
Yeah, he's underground. Yeah. That just, I've been out there for 3 days. No, thank you.
I would really say that. Well, you were saying Scott Wilson. Somebody was it Robert Englund?
He was friends with Robert Englund, and Robert Englund actually liked the project so much he kind of convinced him to come join it on the cast.
Which is funny because I don't really. He is in it a lot more than Robert Englund.
Oh yeah,
and his character. I liked his character more than
I think Robert Englund's character plays bigger for the plot, I guess, but he's not on the screen as much, which he should have been. I mean, you get Freddy Krueger in your movie, and you're trying to make a horror movie. You try to put.
I liked what he was on the screen. I just feel like he wasn't enough.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he only had a little bit. He's busy, man.
Busy guy.
Got to go to Comic-Cons and sign autographs.
I think all the main actors in this are from well-known horror. Well, Walking Dead and Friday the 13th and Poltergeist and Nightmare on Elm Street, except for the main guy.
Yeah.
Leslie.
But it's
just where we find him? Random.
He played perfect for that part.
Well, in the credits, I believe it said introducing. So this was his first feature.
He's
so
done a lot of.
I mean, he did great though.
Single episode guest starring kind of things.
Because he did a good job of being like kind of funny, but also being pretty scary at times.
He embodied that character
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And
I hope they bring him back for the sequel. I know it's been 15 years.
I feel like he would have to.
Yeah, he kind of.
But he almost. We were saying he hasn't really done much since then. He's just kind of had small roles on TV. So I feel like this was like he was almost made for this because he does so well in this. Yeah. He seems to have trouble finding, however, other.
Yeah, he got
roles.
niched into this.
I don't know about niche because nobody apparently saw this, but
nobody but us. Huh?
But he was just really good in this. You would think he would, after seeing him in this, you would think he would have a somewhat successful career.
Even just being in horror movies, but it's not like he made it. But they don't make slasher. They made this, and then Hollywood went on like the supernatural thing kick for.
Yeah, this was right around that time.
Yeah. This is kind of,
and I think that plays into what what you were saying about the director having a lot of horror knowledge. He's obviously a horror fan to want to make this. He probably knew some of these people, had contacts, and he knew what people he could get into his indie movie and how to utilize them. You know?
I mean,
and
do we know if maybe he worked on a lot of sets or something like that and was able to meet.
Well, he was a producer, people. So he had contacts in the industry. He just never wrote and directed. He was always.
I feel like them shooting it as a documentary allowed them to do it a little bit cheaper than if they would have done it like an actual movie.
Also true.
Because you don't have to do as much set stuff. You just kind of
correct.
You don't have to worry about filming everything perfectly.
Right, because it's not. It's meant to be a documentary style.
I guess the only real set they had was toward the end of the movie.
The house, yeah.
Everything else was just kind of like walking into a random
small town in Washington.
Yeah.
We got anything else on this one?
I don't know. I think we about covered it. I mean,
you were saying that there's a throwback to Halloween in the is it the beginning?
Oh yes. What is it?
The Red Rabbit Pub?
Yes, the pub was actually the same as the matchbook Dr. Loomis has in the movie Red Rabbit.
Whenever Michael Myers is like he's chasing him, he finds like I guess discarded clothes, and they have the matchbook.
Yeah. This is like there's a lot of little references like that in the movie that you're not like. If you're just a novice horror person, you're not going to pick up on these things.
You're not going to pick up on that. I think
that's very
I think even though you're average moviegoer,
like the little tiny part that Kane Hodder had, he also was living on Elm Street.
Didn't even realize that. Yeah. Did I realize that? Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So he was on Elm Street.
I think there is something here for people. I think Whitney may have even enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Because I think even your average moviegoer would appreciate how they played the horror killer, how they put him as a regular person who's training to do a job. Like I think some people would actually
I think you could relate to that. Yeah.
But I would actually highly recommend this.
Yeah, me too.
Which you doing for rating?
This one I would give a B+. I really enjoyed this. I don't think it's like amazing. I'm not going to give it an A. I want to like at least say my A.
It's not a masterpiece of cinematography.
Even like I watched this back in 2006 when it came out, and then I hadn't seen it since then. I rewatched it, and it was still enjoyable to this day.
I feel the same way. So it's
like it's been almost 15 years, and time didn't really affect how I felt about the movie, which is a good thing because a lot of times you'll go back and watch horror movies, and you're like, man, that wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But this one's still fine. It holds up very well, and I think it will just because of the style of movie it is. There's not a whole lot of them like this.
It's all valid praise. Yes, I feel the same way. Yeah. I was telling you that I felt that I wasn't going to like it as much as I did when I saw it initially in 2006. I probably liked it more watching it this time because I was like, you know what? This is really good. This is a movie that everybody should check out, especially if you're a horror fan. Yeah.
The acting was good. Done. Even like when I say the acting is good, like you have these teenagers, they're acting like they're
playing
a bad horror movie.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're supposed to do. So everybody did great in the movie. Like there was no really like person that.
Did you recognize who the documenter, the girl who was doing the documentary? You know she's. Don't look it up. You remember?
No, I remember looking at it, but now I can't remember. What was it?
Home Alone. She was one of the.
Yes.
She was like one of the cousins in the family.
Yes, I even said that when I was watching it. I was like, she was in Home Alone.
Yeah. I didn't realize that until I was reading up earlier, and I was like, you know what? I feel like she did look familiar in it, but
man, I didn't even put that in the notes. What an idiot.
I would highly recommend it. I would actually give it an A minus, because I think for what it is, when you're taking a low budget indie movie from somebody who's just a fan of something and trying to do basically fan service and make something that people who love the genre will appreciate on a low budget, I think he succeeded and exceeded any possible goals he could have set for himself with this movie, because everything he set out to do, I think he just did extremely well.
Yep.
So I
mean, I won't argue with you.
For this type of movie, I wouldn't have changed a thing. The only thing, and I'd never say this, is I think I would have enjoyed seeing more. I would have liked it to be a little bit longer just because I was enjoying it so much.
Did a few more scenes with
few more little things thrown in.
His Ahab.
Yeah.
I'll throw a little more in there. Yeah.
I just enjoyed it so much. I would have enjoyed seeing more. And usually I'm one to trim movies a little bit, but I mean,
you could have easily thrown another 10 minutes on this. And
I think so. I would have enjoyed it just as much.
Mm-hmm. Lewis?
I wanted to give it an A minus.
You wanted to?
I want to.
But it's
going
to fall into your B funnel where everything goes.
No, I'm gonna give it an A minus because again, it was just well done for something that shouldn't have been well done. I honestly, when it started, I was just so disappointed. I had not seen it before, like you guys had.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about it going in, you're like,
I don't know the feeling of rewatching it and discovering it if it's better or worse or something like that. I know that gives a lot of insight to some people when they rewatch something a year or two later.
Yeah.
And but I don't know that feeling, but I did know that when I started watching it, I was like, this is gonna be a long ass movie. But then as it went on, it just got better and better and better. I was like, all the little terms the guy used, everything that all those little hidden things that they put in from other horror movies.
Little gems. Little Easter eggs.
The way they showed what a slasher, what the
a different perspective. It's
from the perspective of the killer, and he has a mentor. His mentor talks about, this guy changed the game, for all of us. And,
Freddy and Jason and those boys.
With their sequels, nobody had ever done that before.
It's great.
It just got better and better. I was like, wow, that's actually really good. So I have to give it at least an A minus.
All right, so that'll get you your first A.
Your
first A.
Would
you give it?
Roland Cell Block.
We gave it
I think we gave it an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gave it a B plus.
I gave it a B plus.
So
A minus. So
solid A minus for Behind the Mask.
I think that's about right.
Again, I would recommend it to anybody who enjoys.
I don't think you have to be a horror buff to enjoy it, though.
No.
But I think
you're just going to get more of the references.
If you are a horror buff, you're really going to enjoy it, though.
Yes.
If you like all those old school slasher movies.
So it's streaming on...
It is streaming on Amazon Prime currently. Hopefully it stays there for a little while.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of a lesser known movie, and you never know.
Yeah, I think it's sitting at around 20,000 IMDb reviews. So it's... that's... For being what it is, it's very low.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out.
I mean, I know most people that are diehard horror movie fans have seen this. But I feel like, it's been 15 years. You might have a lot of people.
I can remember when it came out, I read the synopsis and I was like, yes.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm sold.
I am the target audience.
And then I watched it and I was like, that was perfect. That was exactly, they delivered on what they promised.
Yep. Yes, they did.
So, great movie. Highly recommend it. A minus from Highly Caffeinated Movies. If you want to check out our spoiler portion of the review, it'll be towards the end of the episode. So be sure to check that out.
Why is that funny?
Look, you came to me to find out how guys like Mike and Chucky and Freddy do what they do, not why.
So on to spoilers for Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Oh, yeah.
So the plot of Behind the Mask, just to kind of summarize, is Leslie Vernon is a serial killer in training, basically. And a student documentary crew is following him around.
Wow, yeah.
Basically, he's showing them how he's going to become a serial killer that's usually in movies. I guess
you have
he's
to find
aspiring
the
to be.
perfect
Final girl.
set of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to basically have all the stuff in place. You got to have
You have
location.
to have the virgin.
Yeah.
You have to have the virgin.
Right.
You have to have
Virgin, Ahab, all these different pieces.
You don't have to have an Ahab. You just want an Ahab.
Yeah. It's very good.
And that's why they get so excited when he gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have, it was really neat that they show him on, peering onto the high school campus, and he's, explaining, look, see, now you can't use this particular group because of A, B, and C.
Right.
See, it's just not going to work. Yeah, it has to be the perfect set of, friends.
Right.
Yeah, it's got to have your jocks. You got to have your...
You have to have a variety.
Got to have your stoners.
Yeah, you have to have the stoners.
Yeah, so he's picking out his group, and as the documentary crew is kind of following him along, he speaks with his mentor, which we kind of talked about in the review portion.
So, and at this, they're not they're documenting this, but they're not fully sure that he's actually going to do any of this stuff.
Right. They don't know if he's full of shit or not.
Right. They're just along for the ride and see what's going on, and it kind of gets to the point where they're like, should we do something?
Right. Right before it all goes down, they kind of have.
He's got it. He's once he finds his group and he's got it all planned out. He knows exactly what's going to happen.
I will say one of my favorite parts of the whole movie, I laughed out loud, when I was watching this at 11:30 at night.
Oh, that's not a good thing to do.
It's when he was. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But
God, I'm sure you got trouble with that one.
I did.
Yeah.
He's in the library and he's sitting there talking to the documentary girl about I guess because he's waiting for people to find stuff on the microfiche.
The microfiche?
Like they do in all horror movies. He's like, I went ahead and I put something in there about my past. He's basically saying he put something in the microfiche for her to find, which is funny. Because there's always that scene where they're researching on the microfiche machine.
We had a microfiche at one of the credit unions I worked at.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we did. To go back to look up the old files, they were all in microfiche. But don't ask why.
He's sitting. Yeah, that's weird. That's old school.
Yeah.
But he's sitting against the bookshelf and he grabs the book and it's Paradise Lost. And he says, Paradise Lost. Found it, and then puts it back. That's a very stupid joke, but I was cracking up.
It was 11:30. You were sleep deprived.
It was. He's like, Paradise Lost. Found it. And he puts it back on the shelf. I thought that was great. You were mentioning the cardio thing.
Oh yeah,
in the review.
You saw him. He's just insanely training for this.
So that was funny because obviously in horror movies the girl's always running, the killer's just walking, and they explain that in this as, do you have any idea how much cardio I have to do to make it look like I'm just gliding out there? Basically saying he has to do so much cardio that when he's running, it looks like he's walking.
It's creepier and scarier for them to walk, but they still have to be able to catch up to the ones that are running away. Yeah. So he has to power walk through it while looking slow.
That was another great line that he had there.
He has good comedic delivery too in this stuff. He gets so excited. You're like, can you just believe it?
Yeah, he's perfect for this. And then when he meets the mentor, and they're talking about, have you found your girl yet? They're talking about the final girl in a horror movie, basically like it's a girlfriend.
It's always she's gonna survive. Like this, she just.
Have you found the perfect one yet? Is she ready? Have you? And then there's the part where they're messing with the girl outside of the restaurant, where they throw a rock or slam the dumpster door when this girl walks outside just to scare, kind of like those things in horror movies where.
Yeah, and they explain that as something you have to do.
Yeah, you got to build up.
Yeah, you have to go in there. You don't show yourself. You just kind of rustle some bushes and stuff like that.
That's great.
Get her nervous, and then and then later when she's looking stuff up, you got to put your little information in there. You got to get this girl in tune with you,
right? Yeah, get her on edge. Like,
Yeah.
it's nervous.
He said at one point they were looking around. He's just kind of describing people on the campus, and he said, "Nah, you can't choose that. It's got to be someone like a virgin or something like that." And he goes, "Like that girl." And it's like, "Well, how do you know she's a virgin?" And he's like, "Well, just come on, look at her." And then she stops and looks over at them, and he goes, "Whoa, did you see that? We connected.
Yeah.
We connected."
Yeah. Making fun of the part like where in normal horror movies where the girl kind of sees the killer off to the distance and then turns away and then looks back and he's gone. I think is kind of what they were going for at that point.
But it's hilarious how they just pull everything from the perspective of the killer instead of
as if the killer's a normal
guy. That's their life. They're like an artist, you know. They work their whole life for one masterpiece, you know. And then, except for some killers, like they do sequels, you know, they have multiple masterpieces.
Right. They changed the game.
It's very unique, like perspective. You don't I don't know if there's.
And they gave it a very comedic edge.
Yeah.
I think it was funny how he drove a Prius.
Why is it funny?
Because this is a serial killer, like
driving
a Prius. Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
They
tried to make him as regular as they could.
Yeah, I guess as non-threatening as possible.
They have that one scene where they ask a lot of stupid questions throughout the whole thing. And she asked one time, she's like, "Well, why aren't you living here? Why are you living out there in that old house back out there?" And he goes, "Well, I'm supposed to be dead. Like, I can't live here. If someone was living here, it would ruin the whole thing."
Right, it would ruin his legend. Yeah.
Well, the reason he has an Ahab, Robert Englund's character, he shows up and claims that he's not this kid. He's this guy. He's one of his patients that
from
was
another
out
town,
in Vegas or something.
Yeah,
and he's just crazy and needs to be stopped before he does something bad. So that's his Ahab. He's a psychiatrist in real life.
Yeah.
Which I wish they would have delved into that a little bit more, but you probably got cut for timing.
I also liked the part where he was in the shed. Like, basically he has where the murder is, where the whole thing's going to plan out ahead of time. He knows where it's going to be. So he goes and he, like, loosens up all the weapons.
Yeah.
And, like, booby trap stuff to, like, where if they were to hit him with something.
Like everything that you would normally grab right off the bat, like the shovel and the axe and stuff like that. I'll just break those. I'll leave one or two, but less likely to be grabbed. You know?
Like, I just love that. I thought that was, it's just so funny because
you see it in all the horror movies.
And he's explaining,
and then explaining how it happened.
He's explaining the weapon. He's like, what they call the girl again? The term for the girl?
I keep saying final girl or survivor. I'm not sure.
I can't remember. But she's like, she's got to grab a weapon and fight back, but you know, it's got to be something phallic. You know, long, hard.
Yes.
Yeah. She's got to walk through this entryway because you know what it symbolizes.
Yeah. What was the word he used for opposite of phallic?
Emphallic? Oh, I don't remember what it was.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I don't remember the term.
Yeah, he's a like everything that the woman does,
like coming out of the womb.
It's either got to be male related, male sex related, or female sex related. Like it's got to be phallic or.
I wish I could remember what the term was.
I'm gonna look it up.
Whatever. Yeah. Did he stay so that their car wouldn't start? Did he take the spark plug? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, he might be.
Did he do something to the car?
I don't remember.
I feel like he did.
I'm sure he did. I mean, he planned everything else out.
But halfway through the whole thing taking place at the farmhouse.
Yeah, so he has it all set up. All these kids are hanging out the house. He's got it planned, ready to go. And the documentary crew is there with him. And then that's when they kind of switched. Mm-hmm. They were like, we got to do something. We can't let him do this. Yeah. He's actually going to kill these people.
Right.
Yonic is the opposite of phallic.
Yonic.
I don't like that.
Well, thanks for looking that up. Yeah. You should get some good Google stuff after looking that up.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to come.
But yeah, so then they enter the house. They see the final girl that he told them he had picked out.
The virgin.
the virgin is riding some guy. Yeah, he's just
And they're like, that is not a virgin.
no virgin
that is
there.
Not
Yeah,
her first time. She's going at it.
So then they realize that the girl who's been doing the documentary is a virgin and was his pick the whole time. He was basically planning the whole thing out because he knew she would try to intervene with what was going on.
Yep.
So
Which makes it even better at that point. Because you're like, oh, yeah. Because he had it even planned out more than you thought he did.
Because I didn't see that coming.
No.
And, maybe somebody would, but I wasn't thinking that way.
It was already incredible, the level of detail he plans for that one night.
Just to do that. Just to pull that off.
And then to have so much more planned.
Yeah.
And
that made the movie even better.
Oh, when she's finishing him off, and he's like, I knew you were the one.
He was still in it.
She puts him in the apple core.
Yeah.
No, it's a
juicer?
It's a vice. It's just a smash. It's just press things together.
Oh, a juice press, cider press. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
He called it a cider press.
Yeah, because that's what they were making.
But before that, when she kills him in that, they're talking. But when they're in the shed, when he's telling her he breaks some of the weapons on purpose, he's showing her the cider press or using it, basically to put that in her head for later. Which, dude, it was great. Yeah, I love
perfect.
Yeah,
like you don't see it coming though.
They structured and strategically, like, this movie is a surgical precision as far as I'm concerned. With how they executed it.
Yeah, it was very well written.
So, and then she kills him, and then that's right. What
does she?
They burn the place down though.
No, they set the thing on fire.
That's right.
And then there's the credit scenes. There's a body at the morgue.
Yes,
and you get near you have to watch to the end of the credits.
Yeah,
because at the end of the credits, he pops up from the body bag, and that's where it ends.
And I'm so glad
it sets up for a sequel.
This was so long ago, I was not expecting any sequel because it's just been so long.
Yeah.
But the fact that when we were researching, and I looked up,
I was excited about that.
I was like,
yes.
Oh, yeah, I was super excited
this
about
happens.
that. Yeah, me too. Me too.
But I mean, as well written as this was, you can tell he put a lot of time into it. So I'm sure he wants to make it just as good. So he's probably having to put even more effort into it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. He's going to have to come up with all new tropes to kind of explain. I mean, maybe not. I'm sure there's a ton of things. He wouldn't really be able
to do it as a mockumentary. He wouldn't really.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how he could do it.
Change the format a good bit.
I think he could.
He might just do like Final Prayer and get them all head cams,
Body cam. GoPros for everybody.
But I mean, do we want to say anything else about this one? I think we pretty much.
I think we broke it down pretty well.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. It's a great movie.
Definitely check this one out.
Yep. Highlight of this episode.
Yes, I would definitely say the best thing we had in this one.
Yep.
Agreed?
I liked it a lot.
We all agree.
I like it a lot.
It's not often we all agree.
No, it's not.
So,
yeah.
We like to get at least one episode where we all agree.
Purposely disagree just to.
Yeah, I know. Me too. That's just our nature.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We don't like to agree very often.
And I also don't like when you recommend something.
And I'm sure this is on your list.
Well, I love this movie, but I also don't like when you recommend something that I like. I don't appreciate it.
Yeah. And I know it was on your list too.
Yeah.
But you have a lot more horror movies to choose from than I do. Because you're bigger into the horror than I am.
I just know
I enjoy them, but you dive more into them than I do.
I'm a bigger fan.
Yeah.
And I like the more obscure, weird stuff.
Yeah.
But
I have a hard time finding obscure horror.
I got plenty.
I literally have my whole Plex server. Just go in that. There's weird stuff in there.
Oh, I bet there's a lot of weird
stuff.
There's
a lot of weird stuff
in my Plex. I don't even want to know all the stuff.
There's a lot.
There's a secret folder. Just don't go in that one.
Yeah.
What does it say? Tax returns 87.
He's big into amputee porn.
Don't say that.
Don't go to that folder.
It's
sorry, man. I outed you.
Dang it. Yep. So I mean, check this one out.
Amazon Prime. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon. Hopefully, we get a sequel here in the next year or two.
Can't wait.
It'd be nice.
I would actually go to the movies to see that. I doubt they'll put it in the theaters, but I would go to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, check us out on social media, and we'll see you guys next week.